Hi, today's story is about ambition, power, betrayal, and how one man's rise forever changed the course of history. This is the story of Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar was born in 100 BCE into a prestigious but politically declining family. His lineage traced back to the goddess Venus, or so the family claimed. From the start, young Caesar stood out. He was sharp, observant, and endlessly ambitious. His mother, Aurelia, was fiercely intelligent and played a central role in shaping his early character. Rome, at that time, was a republic teetering on chaos. Political violence was common, power was held by the elite few, and the streets of the city were a battleground for influence. At just 16, Caesar's father died unexpectedly, and he suddenly became the head of the family. Almost immediately, danger followed. The dictator Sulla had seized control of Rome and viewed Caesar's family as a threat. Sulla ordered Caesar to divorce his wife Cornelia. Caesar refused. It was a dangerous act of defiance. Refusing Sulla could mean death. But Caesar stood firm, went into hiding, and relied on cunning political allies to survive. That early brush with death taught him a powerful lesson. In Rome, survival meant strength and strategy. After Sulla's death, Caesar launched his public career. He first became a military officer and served with distinction abroad. He was brave in battle, but also brilliant in observation. Unlike other commanders, Caesar wrote detailed reports of his campaigns, part propaganda, part self-promotion. One of the most legendary stories from his youth happened when he was captured by pirates. Yes, pirates. They demanded a ransom, but Caesar, rather than plead, mocked them. He insisted they ask for a higher ransom because he was worth more. He joked with them, gave them orders, and promised he'd return to crucify them. Once freed, he raised a small navy, hunted them down, and kept his word. He had them all executed, not out of cruelty, but out of principle. Caesar was a man who never bluffed. He returned to Rome and quickly rose through the ranks, first as a lawyer, then a senator, and later as consul. But Caesar didn't want influence, he wanted domination. He formed a secret political alliance known as the First Triumvirate with two powerful men: Pompey the Great, a celebrated general, and Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome. Each had what the others lacked: money, fame, or political support. Together, they controlled the Roman Republic from the shadows. As part of the agreement, Caesar was given control over Gaul, modern-day France. There he waged an 8-year campaign of relentless conquest. He defeated tribe after tribe, sometimes through war, sometimes through negotiation, and often through brutal calculation. Caesar didn't just win battles, he rewrote military strategy. He built bridges in days, launched surprise attacks across rivers, and divided enemies with masterful diplomacy. His most famous victory came at Alesia, where he surrounded a larger enemy force while himself surrounded, yet still emerged victorious. By the end of the Gallic Wars, Caesar had achieved the unthinkable. He had conquered all of Gaul, and his name was on the lips of every Roman. Back in Rome, things had changed. Crassus was dead. Pompey had turned against Caesar. And the Senate, alarmed by Caesar's growing power, ordered him to disband his army and return to Rome alone. But Caesar knew what that meant: humiliation, trial, likely execution. So instead of obeying, he made one of the boldest moves in history. In 49 BCE, he crossed the Rubicon River with his army, an act of war. He looked at his soldiers and said, "The die is cast." There was no turning back. Rome was plunged into civil war. Caesar chased Pompey across Italy, Greece, and finally to Egypt, where Pompey was murdered by local rulers hoping to win Caesar's favor. They misjudged him. Caesar was not pleased. He wanted victory on his terms, not betrayal. In Egypt, Caesar met Cleopatra, the young queen. Intelligent, multilingual, and politically savvy, Cleopatra was unlike anyone he had ever met. They became lovers and allies. She would later bear him a child, Caesarion. With Egypt under control, Caesar returned to Rome, now undisputed ruler. The Senate declared him dictator for life. He initiated sweeping reforms, land for veterans, food for the poor, a new calendar, the Julian calendar, which we still use in modern form today. But the old guard was watching. Caesar's power was too great. His enemies whispered that he wanted to be king, an idea hated in Rome, where kings had been banished centuries earlier. On March 15, 44 BCE, the Ides of March, Caesar arrived at the Senate, ignoring warnings from soothsayers and his wife Calpurnia's troubling dreams. He believed himself untouchable. He was wrong. A group of senators, fearing the end of the Republic, surrounded him. One stabbed, then another, and another. Caesar tried to fight back, but when he saw Brutus, someone he loved like a son, holding a knife, he stopped. Et tu, Brute? Even you. And with that, he fell. 23 wounds, blood on the floor of the Senate. Rome's greatest general was gone. But Caesar's death didn't restore the Republic. It shattered it. The people rioted. Caesar's loyal general, Mark Antony, used the funeral to rally the public. When he read Caesar's will, leaving money and land to the citizens, the people exploded with rage. Civil war returned. In the chaos, a new figure emerged. Caesar's adopted heir, Octavian. Young, underestimated, but strategic, he defeated Caesar's killers. Then, years later, he crushed Mark Antony and Cleopatra at the Battle of Actium. In 27 BCE, Octavian became Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. And so the Republic was dead. But Caesar's dream lived on, through empire. His name became a title, Caesar. Emperors, czars, kaisers, all took their names from him. Even Shakespeare, 1,600 years later, would write a tragedy in his honor. Thanks for watching this long and powerful story. If you made it this far, you've just practiced advanced listening in the best way, by immersing yourself in a gripping story that shaped history. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment with your favorite part of Caesar's life, and check out the next video, where we tell the full story of Cleopatra. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next story.